figure out, am I grieving, am I depressed, is it both? It's really important to speak to a counselor about that, or a therapist, and get some input. Okay. So I think, in summing up, grief therapy, working on grieving, going through that experience is very hard work. But the goal is eventually to be able to remember with less pain, right? To adapt with new coping mechanisms, to find meaning in that loss and make meaning from it, and to be engaged in the world in a new way. And so I think, and I would invite us all to look at the loss you might have experienced in our own lives, and there's some things in the handout that would go through some changes we might have experienced. We might not even be aware of all the losses that we've had, and start looking at those and going through them. And then I would encourage us all to find a community of support so that we're not doing it alone. And with that, I'm going to have Barb come up.
Good evening. First, I want to thank Jess for inviting me to come here tonight. And I want to thank her, too, for all the work that she does putting on this program. It's awesome. This is a pretty heavy subject, so I want to start out talking about hope, and then I'm going to end also talking about hope. That also helps me a little bit too, because this is hard. This is really hard. I've had some very significant losses in my life, and yeah, it can be tough. But I grew up in an alcoholic home. My father was the alcoholic. And he drank every single day of my childhood except for 2 weeks when he was in the hospital with double pneumonia. But when he came home, he resumed his drinking. And I left home early. As a result of his drinking and just the craziness in the family, and then also my own drinking. I left when I was 17. And didn't have, I had some survival skills, didn't really have any healthy living skills that I could draw back on. So I just kind of floundered. And but my mom started the recovery process in our family. She started going to Al-Anon, which is for the family and friends of the alcoholic or drug addict. And she was in Al-Anon for a couple years, and then she gave my dad an ultimatum and said, you either go into recovery or I'm leaving, I'm divorcing you. And he did. He went in at that time. It was a 28-day program called at Huron Oaks over at St. Joe's. And that started my family's